Anyways, guys, most of the massive games this week are out of the way, but that still means there's a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of this playoff picture, guys. First week, we're really going through it. Also, we have, still 10 games to predict, so, yeah, let's try to get this thing going. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys do enjoy this Sunday of football, as again, it's the weekend after Thanksgiving. Thankfully, there's no buys this week, which we'll talk about more next week and stuff and other stuff. But obviously, we still have a decent amount of games to get through this Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, we have a 7-by-3 or no. Yeah, seven games early window, 3 games late window, and Sunday night, so only 11 games to get through this Sunday. Obviously, we've already had the 3 Thanksgiving games, again, the Black Friday football game, which did affect one of these teams, and on the other end, we obviously have a Monday Nighter, which we'll talk about more on Monday, which is tomorrow. I guess it's tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this. But anyway, as you guys can see, the first game we'll be going through is the San Francisco the 49ers. Guys, my brain's all jumbled, all these, again, A-push dates and all that, bro. That's all mad confusing. But at the end of the day, the Niners are striking gold this season, despite their injuries. They're 8-4, going against a Browns team that, again, I guess they struck gold with Short Sanders. He's the greatest thing ever, and they're obviously well on their way to making the playoffs. Again, telling me there's a chance there. Who really knows? Oh, my goodness. But for the Niners, they're 8-4. As you guys can see, the Rams technically are only 2 games back. They're 2 games back of them, and they do have a better record in the division, technically, too. And considering, again, that the Rams and Seahawks play in Week 16, which, again, probably will decide the division. But for the Niners, maybe not. Again, they have an 84% chance to make the playoffs. If they win this big game, they'll be at 91%. And, again, we look at, again, the teams that are below them. Again, every team that is holding a playoff spot, obviously except the NFC South, NFC South, which is going to be its own thing, has at least 8 wins. They do want to keep pace. This schedule, obviously, is not the hardest either, especially you look at who they play next week, too. This Niners team should be in a decent spot going to that game in Indy in Week 15, right? No, they have a bye week. They very well going in that Rams and Seahawks game. They should be at 10-4. Just telling you that. But at the end of the day, you look at the other side with the Browns. They are 3-8, yes, but again, Shedeur Sanders in his first career start became the first Browns quarterback since 1995 to win in his first career start. Again, they were 0-17 prior or something. I don't even know. But again, snapped was a 4-game losing streak, something like that. I might be wrong on that. No, it's probably more than that. Well, let's see. They were 2-5, so 3-game losing streak before that. And again, we look at this Browns team right now. They're obviously not the greatest, but technically, even though it's under 1% chance, they do have a chance to make the playoffs. At 3-8, it's so bad, bro. They need a million things to happen, but you really never know with this team. So, I mean, I guess they could win this one. But again, Shore is going to probably have to play better than they did last week. As again, they did beat the Raiders 24-10. Myles Garrett, also watch out for him. He does have the potential to break the sack record in this game if he throws up 5, which again, with it being him, you never really know. He's obviously well on his way to winning Defensive Player of the Year too. But again, on top of that, these 2 teams have not played here in Cleveland since, what was it now? 2017? Maybe? No, that's not right whatsoever. Oh, they played it a couple years ago here. That was in 2023. The Niners were undefeated 5-0 in that game. I don't think Brock Purdy had lost a start in the regular season up to that point. And then again, the Browns not upset them 19-17. Deshaun Watson was their starter at that point. The Browns were looking pretty hot at that point as well. But again, definitely things have gone downhill since then. This game, though, will be at 1 o'clock on CBS. NFL Plus and Paramount Plus will be the ways you guys can stream this game. Again, for the weather in Cleveland, it's going to be cold. I don't think Brock Purdy really likes it. It's going to be 34 degrees, a crap ton of wind, also cloudy. Again, you guys can see the map with it. You get Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins in the call. It's going to be in blue, which means basically the entire West Coast and other parts of the country, considering only 3 games for CBS in the early window. Again, it's not that insane. For the Niners, though, starting lineup, injury-wise, offensively, they're, again, relatively healthy. I don't think Brandon Ayuk's going to ever play another down for them if you thought of anything like that. Trent Taylor, again, I want to talk about him because I kind of forgot he existed, to be completely honest with you guys. I did not know he was on this team. Because he went with the Bengals for a little bit, then went to the Bears in 20. Like who is this dude, bro? He just stuck around. What is he now? 31? Yeah, bro. Heck of a career, man. Again, he's pretty solid, fast, white dude. But what are we doing? Defensively, Sam Akudu, I cannot pronounce his name. He's not a very good player. Robert Bill Jr., Keon White will be fun to watch. Tatum Bethune's out, but Curtis Robinson, I guess, would play. And as you guys can see, Eddie Piñeiro's out. At kicker, Matt Gay will continue to kick for them. Then we look over at the Browns. Anything interesting to talk about with them? Probably not if this ever does load. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel got benched. Did Shedeur Sanders there? Any update on Deshaun Watson returning? Again, Accompanied to Browns Las Vegas game on Sunday. Marking his first time he's joined the team on the road this season. Okay, I guess that means something. But again, I'd be shocked if he plays the game. Again, Shador is obviously there, though. Jordan Ford's questionable as the third stringer. Rest of the offense is somewhat healthy defensively. Aiden Huntington's out. Alex Wright is on off the edge. So again, Isaiah McGuire will start, who hasn't really had the greatest season. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, again, I know he's out this season, but do we have any sort of update on his rehab? Again, it's been a couple weeks since I checked on this, so maybe we have something. Heck no, we have no idea. But anyway, the rest of the defense is healthy. Andre Schmidt, Corey Borkhead's a kicker and punter. And then for this game, as again we do for every single game, how good do I think this game will be? I will put this one in decent. I expect the Browns to stick around. I expect their defense to make it hard on the Niners, but I do not expect this to be a high-scoring game. For that reason, I'm going to keep it here, but I do see it being competitive. Obviously, no bias this week if you have not figured that out just yet. Only one more week with bias, which will be next week. And on top of that, who do I actually see winning this game? I have a hard time seeing the Browns winning this game, but I do see it being low scoring, so I'm going to keep it pretty close. We're going to say the Niners win this one 16-13. Expect there to be definitely be one of the closer games of the week, but at the same time, I don't really have much faith in this Browns offense. That's all I have for you guys here. If there's going to be an upset this week, this is probably one of them. But again, don't really take this one with a grain of salt. I am 0-4 this week. It's not looking too hot. Alright, moving on to CBS's other regional action. We do have the Jags and Titans. Thankfully, this won't be probably as hard to predict. But as you guys can see, the Jags come into this game at 7-4, looking to win their third straight in the series versus the Titans. Obviously, the last time they lost was back when they blew off their last playoff chances in 2023, but again, last year in those two tank bowls, I think they exacted some of their revenge. I don't know, 10-6, 20-13 wins aren't exactly the most impressive, especially against a team that is well on their way to back-to-back #1 picks. But again, with the Jags at the time, you're going to kind of have to take what you get with them. But anyway, right now they find themselves on a 2-game winning streak after they blew a massive lead in Houston. Bounced back pretty well with these past 2 games. Obviously, they had a monster win in Duval back in Week 11. Last week, though, they kind of didn't play that well at all against Cardinals. Trevor Lawrence had like 5 or 6 or 7. It was 3 turnovers, all of them interceptions. And the Jags nearly lost that game, but due to their defense making some big-time plays and some Jacksonville runners, really, at the end of the day, doing what they were supposed to, they kind of got them that win. Offensive line-wise, they still have a lot of questions, but when it comes to this Jags team right now, they are in a prime position to take a playoff spot, as they already hold one right now. As the 6th seed, having the tiebreaker, I guess, over the Bills, have a 74% chance where they win. They will be up to 82%, and considering they still have to play the Titans, if I'm not mistaken, twice. Right? They play them in Week 18, too. Oh, that's going to be interesting. They very well should be able to, again, have a chance to make the playoffs. But again, they still have 2 games against the Colts. That monster one in Duval will be next Sunday, which will be, again, definitely talked about. But again, you look at their 2 of their last 3 games, those will not be easy. But this Jags team, there's really no excuse for them missing the playoffs, guys. I'll be completely honest with you guys. But at the end of the day, for the Titans on the other hand, there's no excuse for them not to get their #1 pick. They have the worst record in football, and if I'm not mistaken, they do have the tiebreakers over those teams that are almost as bad as them as well, something like that. They're 1-10. They find themselves on a 5-game losing streak. Then again, they lost no, that's not true. They lost on a 6-game losing streak. Jesus, you guys are awful. But anyway, last week they weren't as bad as they played the Seahawks window dress to score at home. And I don't know, Cam Ward looked okay. This team's terrible. This game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS, NFL Plus, and Paramount Plus. Already talked about how these 2 teams have been. We look at again, the weather for the game, it's going to be pretty cold in Nashville, which again is a little uncharacteristic. 9-mile-per-hour winds, mostly cloudy, but then again, it usually gets pretty cold here anyway. Again, don't know ball there too much. Green is where we can see Spiritas, Adam Archuleta, TT Kinkobala, and someone else is calling this game, I think. It's going to be a green. Again, it's a C game, again, with only CBS having 5 games. Don't really know how that's possible, but we're just going to take that. For the Jags, though, offensively, you guys can see Kadam Kari's out, as well as Chuma Adogo, so I guess Wyatt Millum will start. Jonah Monheim, I maybe will get the look. I don't think so, though, because he's not really a guard. Again, Wyatt Millum, I think he's a second-year guy, too, if I'm not mistaken. If this would load, that would be nice. There we go. No, he was a 3rd-round pick by them. For whatever reason, I don't really know what I think I had him graded now. I was like a 4th-round prospect. Anyway, though, Trayvon Walker's out for this game. That will be an issue. Dwayne Smoot's been very good. He's been on this team since 2017. Last player from that Saxonville era, I guess. Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead, defensive tackle. Josh Hines Allen, obviously, there as well. How are his numbers looking? I've looked at his advanced stuff, but not like in the, okay, that's not great. He's been pretty good analytically as well. Rest of the defense is good to go. Cam Little's obviously their kicker. For the Titans, any issues with their team? LK Manor's questionable. Dan Moore Jr. and Luke Cushenberry are out. Dan Moore Jr. is questionable, but I would not expect him to play. Sugar Conk was also questionable. Shy Tuttle will not be playing in this game. Jalen Armour Davis, again, this cornerback from SoCo. Kyrie Elam's now here. He's going to start. Xavier Woods is also questionable. Yeah, this defense is just not in a good spot. Joey Sly's also their kicker. For this game, this is one of the more boring games of the week. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't expect this game to be particularly competitive, but again, it's a division battle, so you really never know. And for that reason, especially with the Jags probably going to want to run the ball a lot in this game, I expect it to be somewhat low scoring. We're going to say the same score as last year in Duval. 20-13 will be the final score. Titans offense doesn't completely sell, but again, they suck. So, yeah, I expect the Jags to win this one. You know what? We'll say this final score is 23-13. I've seen monster game versus Indy next week. And you guys can see Fox does have 4 regional games in the early window. For the first time this season, we do not have we have a national game that is not in the early window. Yeah, like you know how like there's like a feature game every week. They again not like the like 4:25 game, but like the 1 o'clock game for the channel that does. You get what I mean there. Fox this week for the first time all season actually has their game in the later window. Technically not. I don't know what the heck they're doing with the announcing groups. I'm just going off of that though. But anyway, this game is don't have to worry about that with this one. As you guys can see, the New Orleans Saints, off of a pretty bad loss to the Falcons next week, will be traveling over to Miami to take on a Dolphins team that is looking to continue to play better off their bye. The Saints, as I said, did not come off the greatest game last week as they lost by 2 touchdowns to the Falcons in a game where their only offensive production really came outside of that. I mean, Blake Ruby missed a couple kicks. He's no longer their kicker. But only true offense production came from Justin Reed on a pick 6, as their defense did give some big plays, particularly that Darnell Mooney touchdown. Not Darnell, yeah, Darnell Mooney. There we go. That touchdown. They fall now at 2-9. Again, it snapped their lossless streak, which again undefeated. I don't really know, guys. They hadn't lost a game I think like 2 weeks or something. Better than what we've seen in the past. But here they go to Miami against a Dolphins squad that is 4-7. They obviously have not had the season they wanted to, but again, considering their next 2 games, they're again also with the game they just had against Commanders, there is a very real shot. They are 6-7. Yes, as I've said it, into that monster Monday nighter that could again decide both those teams' playoff fates. Obviously, I'm talking about that Pittsburgh team that also their schedule's not even close to as easy as the Dolphins, but at the same time, Dolphins are under 1% chance to make the playoffs right now. They have none of these tiebreakers, but 6-7 would put them in a spot to maybe do something. Maybe not actually get the playoffs unless, I don't know, Chargers start a choke. But other than that, if you're a Dolphins fan, you at least say we have a chance to do something in the season where we thought everyone was going to be fired prior to week 8. Something like that. Again, they got rid of Chris Greer, their longtime GM, who again, I think he was around since 2016. Not really, again, relevant there, but I think since, like, what was it, after week 10. Saints here have not been, Saints have not been here in a long time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was supposed to be that Hurricane Katrina game. That might be some ball knowledge, right? Back in 2017, I think the Saints won that game against, like, Jake Cutler or something. Yeah, the Dolphins had a really weird 2017 against Ryan Tannehill out. But, they did play back in 2021. That was the Dolphins' last game they had on that 7-game winning streak after starting 1-7. They won that one. Was it 20-3 or something? Nonetheless, this game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. You can also stream it on Fox 1. Again, Big Noon probably not again the happiest without the game on what is it called yesterday. But anyway, 77 degrees. You guys can see there's gonna be 12-mile-per-hour winds. This game will turn into a thunderstorm. There will be a lot of rain. It will not be a fun atmosphere for Tyler Shook and company there. But as you guys can see, it's kind of a mess with this map. But we look at the now, where is it? We look at the orange. Again, it's basically all of, again, you got the Miami area, and again, the down in the bayou in terms of, again, where you can see this game. Saints starting lineup. Alvin Kamara's out once again. I don't think he's running for 1,000 yards. He hasn't even cracked 500 on the season. Holy crap, it has been a rough year. And as a receiver, you know, yeah, it has not been his year. He is washed as they come. He is now 30, and I would not be surprised if he retires after the season. Chris Olave, I expect him to be out there, but you really never know. Devon Vele, also Mason Tippin, their receiver. Offensive line is honestly completely healthy, obviously, outside of Eric McCoy. Disappointing, Luke Fortner will get the start again. He was the former, was it second-round pick? If this doesn't geek out. By the, if I can get to him. By the Jaguars, right? Second-round pick? No, third-round pick. Back in 2022. That's some ball knowledge right there. Again, maybe it's niche. You really never know. Defensively, they're good to go. Charlie Smith, he's their new kicker. I thought they were going to get Cade York. I know, you know, he loves women, that being Justin Tucker. I thought he was going to be their kicker, but I guess not. Or no, he got caught. Cade York was supposed to be the guy. Now Charlie Smith, they're going with him. That's, again, it's PMO with the way he's spelling it, though. Dolphins now, we look at them. You can see Darren Waller's questionable. I don't even know if he's ever going to play. You really never know there. Again, with a lot of these guys. Austin Jackson's questionable. The blind side, you got to remember, Tua is a lefty, even though it's really dumb. But Jones is questionable. Jordan Phillips might get the start. I don't know. The rest of this defense, Rasul Douglas questionable in the slot. Minka, I think he's definitely going to play a lot of one high this week, and considering they do want to see Efedu Melifonwu a lot as a joker in terms of when they blitz. And you also have Riley Patterson, Jake Bailey. Cameron Goody has been an interesting guy to watch off the edge. He obviously has had better seasons than this year, specifically 2023. But we'll see what happens. He's kind of just been a backup now with him getting the starting role ever since, you know, the dude, what's his name? Not Andre Carter. He's kind of weird. Since Jalen Phillips left. But anyway, for this game, guys, this game is really bad. I'm not going to lie, it's probably one of the least desirable games to watch all week. There's definitely worse ones, but, like, yeah, I'm putting that one there. Jesus, what are we doing, guys? Why does this have to happen? But anyway, for this game, I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win. I don't really see it being a particularly competitive game either, which, again, for the Dolphins fans is, like, I guess, a little bit of relief. We're going to say the Dolphins win this one 30-10. I see Devon Achane having a field day, and, yeah, that's really about it. How about another crappy game as the Falcons will be heading to take on the New Jersey Jets for the second time in 3 years here at MetLife, as 2 years ago it was also in Week 13, and you bet the game was also not their greatest. At the time, though, the Falcons were coming off a Thanksgiving weekend huge divisional win against the Saints, who both those teams ended up being 5-6 after that game. And now this time, I don't really think they're going to be in as much fortune, but you really never know, as they're coming off a division win also against the Saints. Hey, this time, though, it wasn't in Atlanta, it was in New Orleans, as they won 24-10. Kirk Cousins had his best start since, like, a year ago. I think is that a good, like, calendar year difference? Really, maybe not, because I think, didn't he get benched at some point? I don't really know, guys. Falcons are 4-7. They are coming off of a win that snapped a, 6 or 5 game losing streak? My bad. They will be hoping to lose so they can get a better draft pick for the Rams. Jets on the other side are now 2-9. They continue to stink it up, but at least offensively last week they weren't as putrid, and Tyrod Taylor at least can be somewhat competent in this offense. Like I said, the Falcons did just play a couple years ago. That's when Desmond Ridder was holding down this franchise, as Michael Penix did with his injury this past season. But 13-8 was the final. That one the Falcons did in fact win that one. Trevor Siemian, yes, that's again a guy in 2023. That's insane. He was still around. He started that game for the Jets. This game though will be 1 o'clock on Fox. Fox 1 is the way you guys can stream it. You can see the playoff picture for both these teams. Neither of them are making the playoffs. Technically, though, the Falcons have a 1% chance to making it. Please go to 0. That's all I'll say. 43 degrees. You guys can see a little bit of wind. It's going to rain a little bit. Again, perfect weather for a bad game. As you guys can see, it's going to be in green. You got the Atlanta area and obviously the East Rutherford and Connecticut and all that going up into Albany area for this one. Also, guys, who the hell lives in this part of New York? I've never really realized that. You have, like, Burlington, is that right? Somewhere in northwestern Vermont. But, like, who lives, Albany is, like, upstate New York, like, right? But, like, who lives here? I've never thought of who, like, lives right here, because, like, no, like, it's, like, so far from this, like, who lives here? But anyway, yeah, comment in the section below if you actually do, because that would actually be pretty cool. Falcons, Drake London's out, that's definitely not good for them. Chris Lindstrom's questionable, Kyle Hinton's, Kendall Hinton, I thought he was a quarterback. I guess Kyle Hinton, again, a lot bigger cousin. That's definitely not true, but who knows? Defensively, they've had guys out, but again, the mainstays are all healthy. Again, obviously look out for their 2 rookies, Jalen Walker and where is he? James Pierce. Zane Gonzalez, kicker. Bradley Pinion's also their punter. For the Jets, that's who they're playing. Yes, I got it. Alan Lazard's questionable. I thought I wasn't even on the team. John Mechie's emerged as their best receiver. Obviously, with Garrett Wilson going on the IR probably for the rest of the season, if I had to guess. Maybe not. Adonai Mitchell came over in that trade. But other than that, Mason Taylor's had a pretty tough rookie season. Breece Hall fumbled last week. Tyler Taylor again now their starter. Offensive line wasn't too bad last week. Defensively, Harris Phillips, their run-stuffing defensive tackle, is questionable. And they got Jarvis Brownlee Jr. coming over from Tennessee about a month or 2 months ago. Now doubtful. You probably see Jordan Clark out there, the rookie. Is he a rookie? Maybe. Nick Falk, Austin McNamara there. You bet he is, I guess. I don't know. He's coming out of nowhere. Like, literally. For this game, also this game sucks. Like, what else can I tell you? I'm not going to lie to you guys. This game's trash. Like... I mean, I guess you got 2 quarterbacks out there. That might be cool, but no, this game's bad. Who is going to win? I'm picking the Jets. I can't have the Falcons winning games, guys. The game's going to suck. We're going to say 12-9 is the final in OT. Zane Gonzalez slips and breaks his hip. No, get rid of that part. He slips and it's funny, and then they don't hit the kick, and then the Jets win it like that. But yeah, that's what I got from this one. Now let's get to our least horrible game in the early window. You never really know with this next one. And a game that could see 2 backup quarterbacks, probably not. And could see some points, maybe. I don't know. Bucks offense, have you guys been feeling like scoring the past 2 months? I don't know. But anyway, we have a crucial matchup for the Bucks. They take on a Cardinals team that more or less had their season come to an end last week, as they had a really tough loss at home against the Jags in OT. But nonetheless, they have a quarterback in Jacoby Brissett, their backup quarterback, probably better than Kyler Murray anyway, who's been hunking the ball around the past couple weeks. It has not really resulted in much success as a team, but at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun than watching Kyler Murray fall on his face every play, or getting the ball hitting his offensive line because he can't see over the... I don't even know, guys. He's just short. What else do I need to say there? The Cardinals still find themselves on a 3-game losing streak after they won that game back in week, 9 on Monday night in Dallas. But for the Bucks, They're 6-5. They also find themselves on a 3-game losing streak and also have lost 4 of their last 5. As again, they've really had a rough stretch after that 5-1 start. Again, including really just a tough offensive performance in really every single game. I mean, their one good performance was against the Bills 2 weeks ago, but their defense sucked. And then last week, their defense sucked in that first half. And I mean, Baker got injured, and their offense had no chances. They got absolutely boat raced by the Rams. And now they find themselves back at home in, again, a crucial situation here. Nonetheless, the Cardinals have not been here in 6 years. The Bucs won that one 30-27 in what was kind of like a wishy-washy game. Similar to this one, except, again, the Bucs actually find themselves atop the division, also have an 86% chance to make the playoffs. With a win, they should, in fact, probably find themselves a game and a half up on the Panthers with 2 more games to play against them. We look at when they will play them. They will be playing the Panthers in Week 16 and Week 18, as I think they did back in 2021. That might be something there. Also, that they have 4 division games, again, as well as the Dolphins to wrap their season. So, realistically, if you're a Bucs fan and you think you guys are legit, you guys should be 12-5 to end the season. I don't really see that as much of an issue. You might guys say that's pretty insane, but realistically, guys, your schedule is about as easy as it gets. For you guys should be able to do it. Realistically, you guys should not lose those games. Maybe the Saints, though, because you guys have had trouble against them at home the past couple years. But nonetheless, this game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. Fox 1 is the way you guys can stream it. 3rd of 4 regional action games here as well. Tampa weather, you guys can see it's 79 degrees, 9-mile-per-hour winds. Also, it will be sunny for this game. Also, if you think the Cardinals will make the playoffs, can they even I guess. Can they win this division? Let's see. The Seahawks play the Rams again. They need the Seahawks to beat the Rams. They need the Niners. Oh, wait, shoot. No, they don't. Niners lose out, but they play Seattle. Yeah, they can't win the division. Guys, it's literally past Thanksgiving. The Cardinals legitimately can't win this division. I mean, the Giants can't either, but like legitimately, the Cardinals cannot win this division. Like, look at it. Under 1% chance, obviously, to make the playoffs, but the Niners, if the Niners would have to beat the Seahawks for them to stay above them, right? Because the Seahawks would have to beat the Rams. So there's 9 wins right there. But the Niners at 9 wins would be, and they already swept Arizona. That would be it. All right, that's actually insane. I did not know that. Kind of tells you how good that division is. But anyway, you guys can see yellow again, scattered parts of the country getting this game. Also, again, Kevin Kugler, Daryl Johnson. I forgot to talk about this. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and also where is it? Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth. They'll be calling that game. But I think who do we even have? You guys can check their reporters during the game. But anyway, yellow is obviously what we can see here with scattered parts. Also, 4 regional games in the early window, I think we're going to talk about for Fox. First time again we've seen that this year, so just wanted to get that out there. Cardinals. Bam Knight's questionable. Marvin Harrison Jr. is also questionable. Amari DeMarcado is out. Michael Carter and Jamar Jefferson, whoever that guy is, or Jermar. What a name. Hernandez is on IR. Did not know that. Isaiah Adams will definitely be starting. Kelvin Beachum is questionable. Josh Fryer would start if he can't go. Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle, is out. Dalvin Tomlinson will play. The rest of the defense, outside of Max Melton and Dadrian Taylor Demerson, who hasn't really played a couple weeks, is questionable. Oren again is out. DGT's case. Chad Reynolds also their kicker, and Matt Hawk is their punter for the Bucs. What do we have going on with them? Baker's questionable again with the AC joint sprain. I think he is expected to play. Bucky Irving finally should be out there. Maybe. I don't really know. We'll see what ends up happening. Ben Bredeson's questionable. Defensively, you can see Hassan Reich and Jamel Dean, who, again, if they had him last week, would have definitely helped out a lot. Benjamin Morrison, obviously, has not the rookie season he would have liked. He will not be playing this game, and also Anthony Nelson is questionable. Chase McLaughlin's their kicker. Riley Dixon's their punter. And how I see this game's going, this is how I think the game will go. There we go. Cardinals and Bucs will put this one in decent. You could argue it's entertaining, but let's not reach this one. Bucs offense has not really been good in 2 months, so I can't really expect that to really change that much. Cardinals offensively should be able to put up some production, but I honestly see this offensive line kind of falling apart, and Jacoby Brissett kind of just hunking the ball wherever he feels like it, and that's not really going to go well. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be great, but I'm going to say at least it's going to be decent and maybe somewhat competitive. And then I'm going to say the Bucs win this one 20-17, and yeah, really that's about it for that one. Now let's get to our last game for Fox in the early window. In the last game in the early window, we were talking about for Fox, also their last regional game on the day, which, again, is a little bit bizarre. This game I thought was going to be the national game, but I guess I think Fox thought better of it, even though they really, again, all Fox's games this week are crap. But as you guys can see, we have the Rams heading into Charlotte take on the Panthers here in the first time in 6 years. Last time the Rams were here was to open up their NFC championship or NFC title defense run. As again, it was week 1 of 2019. They ended up beating the Panthers with Cam Newton. I think it was one of his last starts there. Again, he came back in 2021, but I think it was 30-27. The Rams won that one. It wasn't a great game, but I just remember Cooper Kupp having a pretty solid game that would follow a pretty solid season. Only one of 1,000 yards. One of 2,000-yard seasons he's had in his career. Obviously, the other one was the Super Bowl year with the Rams. But nonetheless, this Rams squad right now is red hot. They've won 6 straight games. They are the best team in football right now. They hope to continue that against Stretch, as well as Matthew Stafford trying to continue his MVP campaign as they look to get to double-digit wins. Again, 10 wins for the 3rd consecutive season, as well as the fastest they will have done it since 2018. Also, just wanted to tell you guys in context, this game feels very similar to that 2018 game when the Rams were coming off a monster, and I mean a monster win against the Chiefs on that Monday Nighter. I think it's the best game anyone has ever seen, even though they could talk about that freaking Ravens-Giants game from the freaking 50s, guys. No one remembers that. Shut up. But, yes, Rams-Chiefs, that Monday Nighter back in 2018, that's what it feels like. The game after, it kind of doesn't feel like this game matters a ton. It obviously does immensely for the Rams. They think they were playing Detroit that year. Detroit's definitely worse than this Panthers team in some ways, but it was in Detroit. They won that one 30-16. I think that was the last game before Todd Gurley started to suck. But again, let's hope that doesn't happen with Stafford or something. I don't really know what's going on with that. But Rams always want to come in this one at 9-2. Also, that the Rams team was 10-1 coming that game, not 9-2. Just giving you some there. For the Panthers, though, they're 6-6. They have lost. They lost a tough one last week to the Niners on Monday night. Come back here on a short week. As that game, they kind of got shut down on offense. Bryce Young threw a couple bad interceptions. The running game didn't really get anything going, and defensively they did their best, which they're definitely going to do a lot more than this week. I'll tell you that. But other than that, for the Panthers, they're looking to pull off a big upset, keep their playoff hopes alive. They still have 2 games to go against the Niners, against the Bucs, but again, stay in range with them. They would definitely need to win this one. Only a 13% chance to make the playoffs, which obviously I think at this point in the season might be a little bit higher than you might have expected for them. But again, definitely some issues were apparent last week on Monday night. This game will be at 1 o'clock on Fox. Fox 1 is the way you guys can stream this one, as again, all the other Fox games. Weather in Charlotte for this game, around 50 degrees. Also, it'll be cloudy, not much of a wind in terms of the factor for this one. Also, you guys see it's in red. I guess it is technically Fox's top game in this early window. It's really not, because I don't think this is a true national game with, again, who's calling it, that being Adam Amin, Drew Brees, and Christina Pink. Fox's third team nonetheless. As you guys can see, all the red getting this one. It's very close, I think, with the land area with this game, but technically in terms of metro area and stuff, this, I think, does get the most eyeballs, but you really never know. Rams starting lineup. Offensively, outside of, again, I don't think anyone's injured. Outside of Rod Havenstein, who is showing his age. Tutu Atwell, do we have any update on his return? Because we do need him back, as many people don't really want to admit. Hamstring was officially remains on IR. It's full potential. Okay, that's good. He obviously can't play this week. But next week would obviously be huge against the Cardinals. But there you go. Blake Corum, Kyren Williams are in the backfield. Everything else is healthy. Everyone else is my bad. And obviously, Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, Terrence Ferguson. Where is Tyler Higbee? Tyler Higbee injury. He went on IR. Okay, so that's not good. But we still have 3 tight ends. Nick Vannett, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But again, 3 tight ends is way better than 1. That's all I'll say. Defensively, Poona Ford's questionable. You could definitely see Ty Hamilton a lot. He's been pretty good this season. But, yeah, their D-line, again, it's a little bit of an issue. Obviously, Poona Ford's very good. Cam Kitchen's questionable in the secondary. And also, look who is back. Ahkello Witherspoon, the Rams' best corner. Obviously, Emmanuel Forbes, who's been playing out of his mind, will be there as well. Josh Walls has now emerged as their slot cornerback with Quentin Lake on IR. With Roger McCreary, I would expect them to try to get Kobe Durant in the slot. Obviously, he's not as, again, dynamic as Quentin Lake in terms of a run stuffer, but he's definitely better than him in coverage, so I could definitely see something going on there. But honestly, guys, we'll see how that, again, affects. They have a lot of things to figure out. And again, Derrick Henry is back on this team as well. But again, Roger Curry, the guy trade acquisition, he just went on IR a couple days ago with the hip injury. Again, we got him for other reasons. Harrison Mevis, Ethan Evans are also there, but it's very, again, interesting what they do in the slot because, again, that Quentin Lake injury is definitely an issue. But Ahkello Witherspoon back there, number 1 corner, is huge. Emmanuel Forbes, though, they really think they should just get Kobe Durant in the slot and figure it out. And obviously, Darius Williams in the last year of his contract should definitely rotate in with Emmanuel Forbes and probably Ahkello a little bit as well. But anyway, for the Panthers, we look over at them. Offensively, they're definitely not the most threatening. Obviously, Ted McMillan versus, again, Ahkello Witherspoon will be fun to watch. Rigo Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard in the backfield again. That dynamic will continue to shift as we continue to watch them play, and also their success. Cade Mans is out. Nick Samick will start at center. Defensively, you guys can see Christian Roseboom is out. Trevor Motor got suspended for punching. What is it called? Jawan Jennings in the balls. J.C. Horn's out. That's good for the Rams. Robert O'Shell will start. He was a former Ram as well. Again, they've got a lot of connections here. Prency and Noonan, expect a lot out of DJ Wanham, and obviously Nick Swarton are both off the edge with Ryan Fitzgerald at kicker and Sam Martin at punter. This game for me I think is somewhat decent. I don't know if I want to put it there. I think this could definitely turn out to the Bills game, but realistically this game should be somewhat decent. So I'm going to put it here again. It's definitely not, again, in terms of playoff implications, I think this is fair to put it there. Definitely want to tune in a little bit. For who I see winning, I'm going to see the Rams win this one by a lot. I don't see them winning by 100 by any means. Definitely not the same game as the Bills, but I'm saying they win this one 32-12. Yeah, that's definitely a score. Now let's get to our best game in the early window by far. All I can say is that if you're a Chiefs fan, you are a big-time Colts fan for this game. Obviously, am I saying that's a Rage Bait Texans fan? You bet. As obviously they will be heading to Kansas City after this game. And again, returning with CJ Stroud after a mini bye week, they look primed to get a big-time stretch here as they look to not only knock off the Colts, but if they're able to win this game, then they'll beat the Chiefs. That'll just be another game that if they end up tying the series against the Colts, they will have in their back pocket. But for the Texans, they are in a 3-game winning streak coming in this one. Obviously, prior to that, they started out 0-3. They obviously were 0-3 back in 2018 they made the playoffs, so we'll see what happens here. Again, they haven't ran off 9 straight wins, but very well can be close to doing that this season if they're able to continue this hot stretch against a Colts team that is obviously going up against the best defense they have faced all year. This Colts team obviously lost 2 out of their last 3. Their only win was on the back of a 244-yard historic game from Jonathan Taylor. This Colts team, especially offensively, has definitely been trending on the downwards, but obviously with Sauce Gardner coming in, you definitely could expect a dynamic shift in how this team is going to try to win football games. But nonetheless, this is a Colts team that is still winning the division well in their control of their own destiny, but obviously this is a game they cannot afford to lose. For the Texans, I mean, it's very simple. They got to win this game. This game, though, as always, seemingly with these teams, is going to be at 1 o'clock on CBS. NFL Plus and Paramount Plus will be the ways you guys can stream this one. Texans and Colts last year when they played, I remember back in Week 8, Anthony Richardson got tired. The Texans won that one 23-20 when they played back in Week 1 in Indy. Again, definitely some smoke and mirrors with Big Tony in that one, but the Texans won that one 29-27. At least this year, their defense is a lot better than it was last year in many ways. But nonetheless, this game, as you guys can see, is on CBS. Again, it's also their first game of their doubleheader. CBS does have the Thanksgiving weekend doubleheader this week. So again, you can see Inigo, J.J. Watt, Evan Washburn on the call. About the entire country, hopefully, will be getting this game, as it very well does deserve that. Again, sort of implication there. For the Texans, though, offensively, you can see that C.J. Stroud is back. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb continue to display carries. Other than that, though, again, I don't even know where there's Charlie, my Christian Kirk on them. What that was about. Offensive line is healthy, continues to get better. Defensively, they are just absolutely amazing. Expecting a lot of big plays and a lot of fun from that group. Kyrie Fairbairn, Tommy Townsend at kicker and punter. For Indy, offensively, Tyler Warren is questionable. Cox will definitely play if he can't go. He'd play anyway, but you get the point. Again, Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs have not played the greatest football the past couple weeks. O-line is healthy, but has definitely not played their greatest football either. But again, like I said, defensively, they are obviously continuing to improve and continuing to play better together. I need to see Jermaine Pratt, though, continue to be better in coverage. And Austin, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, probably won't get any more than 10 snaps. Michael Badgley, Rigoberto Sanchez, the kicker and punter. And then obviously you have Anthony Gold and Luke Rhodes rounding things out as well. This game obviously is going to go into a must-watch. This is the biggest game in the early window and is the biggest game that you should be paying attention to for the AFC playoff picture outside of that, again, the big old game we'll get to later. Yeah, this is, simply put, this is a must-watch game. For who I see actually winning this one, I am going to say the Texans defense completely, again, flusters that Colts offense, and I expect Colts to make a lot of mistakes, and I'm saying even though the Texans offense doesn't put everything together, their defense just completely dominates this one. I'm going to say the final score will be 26-14 in favor of the Texans. Big-time AFC South statement, and now the Colts will be finding themselves into a first-place battle with the Jags next week. Now moving into what I guess is supposed to be the regional window. Again, I don't know what we're doing here on Thanksgiving weekend. Only, again, very light, 3 games in the late window. But again, I guess Fox is trying to feature this game in terms of who they're sending to it. Again, the Vikings have had, again, national attention the past 3 weeks. And again, J.J. McCarthy continues to suck as they fell to 4-7 last week with their 3rd straight loss. Yeah, there we go. But as you guys know, 2nd straight loss, right? But again, J.J. McCarthy here in his 4th start since getting injured. Something like, get the point, though. Vikings have lost back-to-back very frustrating games against NFC North opponents. As again, they only mustered up 6 points in Lambeau last week as J.J. McCarthy threw 2 picks for the 2nd straight week. And they ended up losing once again. This is a Viking squad that has not had this sort of start in a long time. Meanwhile, for Seattle, they're now 8-3 off of a bounce-back win in Nashville. They're going to look to knock out the Seahawks, the Vikings this week, and completely end their season, which is very likely to happen, as they, outside of, again, that 4-interception Sam Darnold game, have looked like the most dominant team since Week 5 in the league. Mostly. But again, you guys can see for Seattle, it's going to really come down to that game against the Rams in Week 16 on Thursday night, which is realistically, if we think about it, it's like 2 weeks from Thursday, which again is actually not too far away. But again, Seattle, again, that's their chance to win it. Obviously, 93% chance if they make the playoffs, they do win. Vikings, I mean, yeah, that's all I'll say. But obviously, this game will be at 4:05 on Fox, as well as streaming on Fox 1. It is, I guess, Fox's featured game this week. Not really, but I guess technically, if you really want to say that, you can. Weather for this game is to be 45 degrees, also cloudy for this one. I think that is right with the time. Who really knows? Also, the Vikings, I think, played here last year. Yeah, they did. That was a huge game. The Vikings came in that one at 12-2. They ended up winning it in thrilling fashion, 27-24, to end up sending the Rams above, or catapulting the Rams above the Seahawks, and ended up giving them a clinching situation in Week 17 for the playoff spot. Love the Vikings for that, but again, obviously that probably won't happen this week. Also, you guys can see that. There we go. That's right. You guys see national game again. It's getting basically the entire western northwest part of the country plus like a lot. So again, it's very hard for me to say this is their big game considering that it's going to Rhode Island. I think we can. It's safe to say it is or something like that. Who really knows? As you get Evansville, Indiana, they switched it wherever that is. All right, for the Vikings though, Jaden McCarthy. Oh my God. Wait, what? Oh, it can call. Holy crap. Jesus. Again, JJ's been terrible. Don't get me wrong, but for Max Brosmer. Yeah, Jesus. Christian Darrisaw is questionable. Donovan Jackson's, yeah, Jesus. This seems cooked. Defensively, I don't even want to look at it. For Seattle, again, offensively, they're healthy. Defensively, you bet they're healthy. Again, like, I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, yeah, Julian Love, obviously, and Jared Reed. We'll look at updates on them. Julian Love, I think, was only put in the IR like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, hamstring. Okay. Any update on that, we'll see about that. Then, obviously, Jared Reed, who is obviously one of their better players. He underwent surgery. We'll see if he's back anytime in the remote future. Obviously, Mike Morris would not be starting if he was there. But, yeah, Jason Myers, Michael Dixon, a kicker and punter. This game, where it's trending, it's going to go in boring. I'm going to put this one in, yeah, boring. This is not a national game. It's not even close to that. Considering how this game's trending to be. Oof. But realistically, I think that Seattle will be able to, again, the Vikings will be able to force a couple Seattle turnovers because that is what they're pretty good at. But, yeah, this is not going to be a close football game. We're going to say it's going to be 31-3. I'd be shocked if the Vikings scored a touchdown in this game. Again, I know how crazy that sounds, maybe in garbage time. But, yeah, this is not, again, shaping up to be anything more than a rough one if you're a Minnesota fan. Yeah, this has been a tough season, guys, for them. And now moving into the late afternoon national window, it is the complement to CBS's featured game this week. As part of their doubleheader, we do have the Chargers and Raiders going at it here. Not really much to talk about other than the fact that the Raiders are a pushover and just got embarrassed by the Browns last week as offensively Geno Smith sucked and he got sacked 10 times and the defense didn't really do much to stop, again, any sort of Dylan Sampson explosive plays as they fell to 2-9. They are now on a stretch of losing, 5 straight. They have not won a game against a good team since I still don't know how they beat the Patriots in Foxborough. That might be the best win of the entire season, but not against the Steelers there too. But still, Raiders are in a rough spot right now, guys. They're well, they're waiting in the top 5 pick and probably drafting quarterback. Chargers are 7-4. They came off their absolute worst performance of the game, of the season. Prior to their bye week against the Jaguars, they got annihilated 35-6. Prior to that, I think they were on a 3-game winning streak, if I'm not mistaken. That included a dominant win over the Vikings, 37-10, on a short week in Week 8. But again, since a couple of those games, they have not really been the greatest. Despite that, they have a very good defense to hang their hat on, and this is a group that should be able to have much success against the Raiders. This game, though, will be at 4:25 on CBS, NFL Plus, and Paramount Plus will be the ways you guys can stream this game. And for the Chargers, they opened up the season last year here against the Raiders. I think they won 22-10, maybe. Chargers, Raiders, 2024. That's when Damian Pierce, right? No, that's not Damian Pierce. What the heck's his name? Antonio Pierce, their head coach, obviously punted the ball when they on a 4th and 1 when they could have scored a touchdown. That's Raiders ball knowledge, though. That's all I know there. Also, Khalil Mack had 6 sacks against Aiden O'Connell here a couple years ago. That's cool. But yeah, for this game, as you guys can see, the Chargers are a 5 seed right now. I think that very realistically, they're obviously going to win this game, and their schedule is such cupcake that no, it's not. Their next 5 games, I would not be shocked in any way that they lose every single one of these. Will it actually happen? Hopefully not, but I don't really know. Again, very, very realistically, that could happen. And then obviously, though, for the Raiders, but yeah, Chargers, though, you guys need to win this game to have any shot to make the playoffs. It's pretty simple there. Also, you guys can see it's in blue. The whole West Coast is getting this game, which for some reason, I honestly don't think it's a terrible idea. But for the Raiders, offensively, Jordan Meredith's questionable. Michael Mayer, the backup tight end, technically is out. Adam Butler's questionable. Thomas Booker, I guess, will get to go there. Darnay Holmes has been pretty bad, but he's questionable. Nickelback. Also, you got Daniel Carlson and AJ Cole, kicker and punter. For the Chargers, they will be having offensive fun as only, Martin Hampton's injured. Joe Alt's obviously, I think, out the year or something like that, right? He's out for a while. And obviously, Rashawn Slater, we know, has been out the year for very long time. Defensively, though, you guys can see again, Justin Bagaby has not been the worst for them. He does have 4 sacks, which I think is pretty interesting from the interior, especially for a guy that I've never really thought is that good. Digger, the kicker, J.K. Scott, our kicker and punter, though. For this game, it is an absolute snooze fest. Do not expect this game to be competitive or even close to good. I'm honestly going to say the Chargers shut out the Raiders in this game. Again, Chargers are going to have some joy before things get real. So, I'm staying with this one 34-zip. Now let's get to, again, really the only game that we've left that has any sort of, again, interest in my mind. Alright, again, penultimate game we'll be talking about here for, again, Sunday, as we do have CBS's featured game, again, Thanksgiving weekend, as we have the Bills and Steelers in a monster AFC playoff picture battle, as, again, the Bills coming at 7-4 after a rough loss last week on Houston, but, again, with the mini bye week, they can definitely regroup coming in here against a vaunted defense, who is, again, led by TJ Watt, again, and maybe Jalen Ramsey, who really knows. They're 6-5, they're coming off of a tough game this prior week against the, oh my god, I cannot remember anything. Who the heck did they play? Bears! As again, they blew that game. They probably should have won that one, as things happened, even though realistically there was, again, really only the running game to see that offense look good. And obviously without Aaron Rodgers in that one. Prior to that, they were here at home knocking off the Bengals. Obviously the Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey situation kind of altered. People saw that one, but realistically the Steelers all defensively are going to have to play a very similar game to that. They want to beat the Bills and obviously take the exact same blueprint that the Texans used to against stymie Josh Allen in that game. But this game will be at 4:25, as I mentioned on CBS. It is the CBS doubleheader game, NFL Plus, Paramount Plus are the ways you guys can stream this one. Bills have not been here since 2019, honestly, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Bills won that one, 2019. I think the Bills won that one 17-10 when Duck Hodges was still the Steelers quarterback. That's pretty interesting. But, yeah, they have not played here in a while. The Steelers, I think, were back in Buffalo back in 2022, maybe. I think the Bills won that one 30. No, they played in the wild card in 2023, and the Bills won that one 31-17, right? Yeah. So also Mason Rudolph was starting that game. There you go. But as you guys can see, playoff picture for both these teams. The Bills are hanging on at the 7th seed. I don't think there's a way for them to. No, they actually would if freaking Texans win. Bills lose, they'd be out of the playoffs. That is insane. The Ravens, Chiefs, and Bills could not be in the playoffs if that all happened. But thankfully for them, Steelers should fall to 32% if they lose this game and be in danger of not having a winning record. Because you look at the Steelers and their schedule. Realistically, outside the Browns, there's not any true games they're going to be expected to win. I expect them to split one with the Steelers, with the Ravens. The Lions game, though, and the Dolphins game are definitely up in the air there. For the weather of this game, you guys can see it's been called 36 degrees, 16-mile-per-hour winds, also cloudy, but pretty much irrelevant for both these quarterbacks. Again, you guys can see the map. It is the national game. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson will be calling it. And again, the entire country basically will be getting this game. For the Bills, though, Joshua Palmer's questionable. Dalton Cade's also questionable. Deion Dawkins will be out as well as Spencer Brown at tackle. So Tyler Grable, if he can play, will start. And also Ryan Van DeMark. I thought it was Denmark, but I guess it is DeMark. It kind of makes sense. Chase Lunt, I guess, will be out there. Terrell Bernard's not playing in this game. The rest of the defense is healthy. Matt Prater and Mitchell Wishnowsky, kicker and punter, I mean, somewhat healthy again. You probably want Landon Jackson, Michael Hoyt, but, things happen. Then we look at the Steelers. Is Aaron Rodgers playing? He will be playing, okay, with a broken wrist. Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, not kicker and punter. I mean, maybe they'll try that. But again, they're at running back. DK Metcalf, Calvin Watson, Roman Wilson, a receiver. Rest of the offense healthy. Derek Harmon will not be playing in this game once again. Yaya Black will probably get the look. Maybe Jack Sawyer, really never know there. And the rest of the defense is healthy. Chris Boswell, Corliss Whitman, kicker and punter. For me, this game is going to go in entertaining. I don't know, again, obviously it is huge in the playoff picture, but I don't really see this game, in my opinion, as a true must-watch, even though it's really the only game I'll really be caring about in the late window. So I guess it is a must-watch, but, we'll put it in must-watch. Again, there's really no game that I look at as, it's just... It's not a must-watch. It's obviously really important, but if you, look at this team game, you're not going to be the Steelers, because they made the playoffs because they won that game. The Bills, I mean, you may even say that for them. So, it probably is a must-watch, but I'm going to put this one in entertaining, to be honest with you guys, because, realistically, again, I don't really look forward to watching this game. So, that's why I'll put it there. But anyway, for a half-decent game, I don't see the Bills figure out a way to win. Offensively, are able to do enough. I want to say 24-20 is the final in this one. Now let's get to our Sunday Nighter, which I'm telling you guys, with the Monday Nighter we have next tomorrow night. Again, it could be a whole lot better. This is pretty bad. And wrapping up Sunday will be again the Sunday Nighter, which admittedly, guys, is going to be a rough one. As the Denver Broncos, who are, again, maybe if they win this game for the moment, would be the 1 seed in the AFC, right? What are their losses? They have the loss to the Chargers and Colts, Patriots, lost to the Steelers, Raiders. I don't really know, guys. one of those teams will be top, again, with both only having the 2 losses. Broncos, though, 9-2 off their bye. They find themselves on a 6-game winning streak, looking to try to make it 7 straight here. And Lando Romero against Commanders team that had just lost to a pretty solid team, that being the Seattle Seahawks back in Week 9 on Sunday night, in which they got blown out 38-14. Maybe Bo Nix throws 4 touchdowns similar to Sam Darnold on this one. Probably not. But anyway, the Broncos, though, are trying to get the double-digit wins for the first... No, technically they did last year, so forget that. They're trying to tie the amount of wins they had last year, which would be the most wins if they're able to win next week, something like that, since they back in a couple years ago. But you get the point. Broncos, again, as you can see, their schedule, they have the Raiders next week, and then they have... a pretty rough stretch overall. It's definitely not an easy way to end the season after, again, they could be 11-2, which would obviously be an insane stretch for them. Nonetheless, for the Commanders, they're at 3-8 on a 6-game losing streak, which is the longest in the entire NFL. They are coming off their bye week after a game in Madrid, in which they lost the Commanders 16-13, in which they realistically should have won. But again, they also outplayed the Dolphins in that one. But again, didn't really get done with all those miscues. So they look to again break that losing streak. Will that actually happen? Probably not. But you really never know. The Broncos have not been here since 2017. They have played in 2 times in Denver since then. That first game was a Broncos 17-10 win. They also played an insane game back in 2023 that the Commanders won 35-33 with Sam Howell. So, you know what? Anything can happen here. But yeah, this game will be at 8:20 again for Sunday Night Football on NBC, a Peacock, Universo, again, the NBC Sports app, NFL Plus, Peacock. I think will have some sort of final or whatever the heck after the game. Landover, Maryland weather is 41 degrees. You can see it's going to be cloudy. Also 8-mile-per-hour winds. The Broncos, though, obviously, with a win, would be basically clinching a playoff spot overall. I think if the Texans lose... No, that's not going to even happen. I'm not going to try to bullshit my way through that. I don't think they're going to be able to clinch the division spot here. Also, though, a win would put them well on their way to, again, being the first team since 2014, if I'm not mistaken, to win the division other than the Chiefs. No, 2015, right? Something like that. For the Commanders, they have another 1% chance to make it. For the Broncos, though, you look at this. Again, also... Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, he did not call the Thanksgiving night game. Sorry about that. But Jason Garrett called that. They also didn't have their Football in America crew on, which I'm a little bit mad about. You're there to watch that, I guess. Chris Collinsworth, though, and Melissa Stark. Bo Nix, R.D. Harvey, Joe McLaughlin in the backfield. Nate Atkins is out at full. He doesn't even play. Who cares? Defensively, they're healthy-ish. Jonah Ellis is out. Again, Pat Surtain is back as he has had a bye week to recover. You also have Will Lutz and Jeremy Crouch out, kicker and punter. For the Commanders, you guys can see Jaden Daniels will not be playing this one. Marcus Mariota will continue to start. Josh Johnson's their backup, serving as the backup for this game. The rest of the offense is healthy. Defensively, they are healthy. Outside Trey Amos and Marshall Lattimore, and their 2 probably starting corners both out. James Moody, Tressway, their kicker and punter. Antonio Hamilton Jr. This is not a name I've heard in a minute. If we can load. There we go, 10th season league. He is 32. He played for the Cardinals in 2023. He started, but yeah, he's kind of been bouncing around a little bit. He doesn't play a lot. I kind of forgot he was in the league, but yeah, he's an interesting dude. But anyway, for this game, again, last game we'll be talking about. This game I'll put in boring because it's gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be Sunday night. Definitely go to bed early. That's all I'll say there. This game, Broncos are gonna win. We'll say it's somewhat not too big of a blowout. 28-17 is the final. That's all I got from here. See Broncos at 10-2, keeping that winning streak alive. And again, we'll be discussing a team with a winning streak tomorrow for the Monday night preview and predictions for that, again, that big time one. It's not really big at all, but you get the point. Also, hope you guys enjoy all the games this Sunday. Maybe these predictions land better than what we saw over the, again, Thanksgiving and Black Friday. But again, holidays are almost here, technically a day away. Again, enjoy your football this Sunday, and then I'll give you guys the whole recap Monday night. It'll be coming out sometime Monday night, and then obviously we'll have the Monday night prediction sometime on Monday, midday, if I had to guess.
One guy traded, Jackson's playing. 1st and 10. LaVitri with a nice block at the guard. Going deep. He's got Johnson. Oh, he dropped the ball. That would have been the game winner. Wow. Why so serious? Now you understand.
Oh, he's had a lot of drops today.
He has put it on the ground, and we said that Fitzpatrick was fearless. He takes a shot down the field, working against Taylor with clock coming off.